I'm too much for some people, not as many as you, but I've caught myself where I'm going off on something I'm super passionate about. It's like, this person doesn't care. This person does not care. So you have one of two options. You either filter yourself to fit in, or you be okay with not fitting in, not resonating.
I don't think you can achieve real success, non-ego success, non-status perception success without taking on more responsibility in advance. And a lot of people want to achieve things without responsibility, and I think that isn't real or sustainable.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode number 1648, the worst advice we've ever gotten for rejection. Today, for episode number 1649, happy Freestyle Friday. You know what I was thinking the other day, Alan? I was thinking...
What's that, Kevin?
I was thinking of the people we went to high school with, and I was wondering if they're as happy and fulfilled as they look on social media. Not from a place of judgment, but it was a genuine, I really hope things worked out for you, and I really hope you're as happy and fulfilled as it looks.
Same as these.
I was thinking of that the other day, because I don't know, when you get behind the scenes of so many people, you realize how much everybody has their own unique struggles.
Just speaking objectively, I think it's impossible for them to be as happy as they look.
I don't think anybody is.
Yeah, almost no one.
The last however many months, you know why I haven't been posting on social media? Because I didn't want to pretend I was happier than I was.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. I've been extremely overwhelmed. I've been spread very thin. I'm not inspired to post when I have to fake it.
Pretending sucks, man.
Pretending sucks.
Pretending's the worst. Yeah, it eats you alive inside.
That's been on my mind. That's been on my mind a lot.
We've
lately.
all done it. I think
Of course.
in middle school and high school, when you're younger in particular, I think there's a lot of pretending going around. For many of our listeners, think about someone in your life who's a teenager, or maybe they're in their early 20s. It's very clear that there's a lot of insecurity, but they're portraying the opposite. And I think that everyone does that. I think the growth journey is, I think we're born a clear glass of water. I think we're all born with a unique light that we shine in this analogy. And I think life throws mud in our glass. Toxic relationships, traumas in childhood, tragedies, sexual abuse, sexism, racism. You just get all bullies. You just get mud slung in your glass. And I think that personal growth, particularly the inner work, is clearing your glass of water. So I'm writing a blog right now, and I am using Canva. Canva is awesome. And I created a digital asset that had a clear glass of water on the left with like the sun shining through it. And then on the right, it was a glass of Coca-Cola. And my point of the metaphor is the water on the right is really murky and your light can't shine through it. And this kind of goes back to what we talked about in the last episode, where when you're not emotionally connected and you don't do the inner work, it's almost like you can't, you're protected from getting more mud in your glass, but the mud that's already in your glass is kind of stuck there. Versus, this is what I recommend. And if you've ever seen a video where they do this, imagine I take a clear glass like this. If you're on YouTube, you can see my clear glass of water. Imagine this is full of Pepsi or Coke. And then I open the top and I pour clear water in it. And I just keep pouring until it overflows. Eventually the water gets less and less murky, until eventually you have a clear glass of water. I'm convinced. I think that's what inner work is. I think that's what personal growth is.
Let me take you behind the scenes real quick. Completely unrelated. It's going to completely disregard all the positive, valuable things you just said.
Okay.
But when you were talking about I was in Canva and I had one slide that's a clear glass of water, and the other slide I thought you were going to say was turd water. That's really what I was waiting for. And it didn't happen, and then I got lost in thinking. Then I just got lost. I heard what you said, but I was thinking of turd water that whole time.
Okay, well, to bring the metaphor full circle, pouring clear water into the murky water is like this. It dilutes it, yeah. And I think this episode is one example of that. So after 26, quarter life crisis, I got into personal growth, inner work. Instead of just improving toward my goals, achievement at the expense of fulfillment, I worked on self-improvement. And the blog that I'm writing right now that I just referred to, it has the 7 levels of self. So the first one is self-concept, which is your identity. The next one's self-belief. We talk about that all the time. I don't know you. The third one, you won't be shocked by this, Kev, is self-worth. Okay. Then it's self-discipline. After that is self-trust. After self-trust is self-love. After self-love is self-respect. It's a pyramid. I'm sure you're not shocked by that.
Of course. Gotta be.
Gotta be. And like I always say, the cool part about a pyramid is the foundation has to go wider before you can make it taller. And I think self-respect is something that takes a lot of work to get to. Non-ego, true, authentic self-respect. I think that's the hardest one to get to. So that's the premise of the blog. But if you picture that murky water as a teenager, what you can do if you expose them to personal growth is like pouring in clear water. The podcast, personal development books, psychology, therapist, coach, self-improvement, exercise, nutrition, sleep, hydration. You're just pouring in clear water. And eventually the toxins get out. Yep. And you eventually are this sort of clear beacon of light. And then you're a mirror for other people because you're shining so bright. And that's where that quote comes from of, it is not our darkness that most frightens us, but our light.
Where did that come from, that quote?
One time I said Coach Carter. No, it's in Coach Carter.
Yeah, no, that's where I know it from. Like Maya Angelou, maybe?
Yeah, Marianne. I honestly don't know. Okay. I can't authentically
Shout out to Marianne.
Marianne something, I think.
You know
Marianne
what else?
Williamson. I want to say that.
Okay. How certain?
70%.
70%. So if we were on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you'd probably phone a friend at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. So take that for nothing. Don't tell somebody.
You know who I would phone? I would phone Jessie. Jessie knows that quote. Yeah, she used to have that quote written in her room.
Give her a buzz right now.
I think I exposed her to that quote, and then I think she fell in love with it because I think tears came out when I shared that quote with her. That's a quote that is powerful for a lot of people. If you feel like you've been, yeah, it's a good one.
Again, would never resonate with me because I don't think I'm capable of much, so I'm not really worried about unleashing my full potential. But I do understand because I've seen that on your end very much. Yeah, for me, it's like, no, I'm afraid of failure. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of being great. That's what I'm trying to do.
You're funny, man.
That's what I'm trying to do.
To you, it makes no sense.
It makes no sense. But now I understand. You know what else I was thinking the other day? I don't know where this came from. This probably won't resonate with you, but I have lyrics that pop into my head sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like I'll literally...
Like turd water?
Turd water is one. Yeah, that's one. I'll be in dreams and I'll have lyrics. That happens sometimes. And I was thinking of the fact that I'm pretty sure I didn't know this at the time. And don't laugh because it's not funny. But I know you're going to laugh. I'm pretty sure I've had depression since I was like 10. And the reason I say that is because I can remember lyrics that I wrote. Because I've been writing for a long time. It used to be poetry, and then I had the courage to start rapping it. But I remember I used to write some very dark stuff. And it like came to me recently. And I remember I was dating one of my first ever real like serious girlfriends. I remember she had a therapist or a counselor. I think I don't know what the person was classified as.
Were they working at the school? Because a lot of times if they're working at school, they call it counselor.
No, this was somebody outside. Outside of school. I'm guessing they were a therapist. But I don't
Probably.
know the difference between a therapist and a counselor in terms of
It's just
necessar-
licensing, most likely.
Okay. So one of the two. And I remember she said, "Yeah, I'm going through, like, I have depression." And I remember thinking, like, what is that like? I don't understand. Like, you're just sad? And she said, "Well, no, it's a lot more than that. There's stuff going on." And I could never, ever, ever understand it, but I wonder if I just had a different version of it. Because I look back and I wrote some dark stuff.
Well, you said this to me, where you and I have been a very interesting mirror for each other. We've reflected so many things off each other that we never would have learned otherwise. Like, even earlier, you're like, well, now I get it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you never would have understood people that are afraid of success prior to that.
100%.
That conversation, right? And I never would have understood the other side. So even one of the cool things that's come of that is I just never understood how valuable self-belief is. It's the most important thing ever. But you have been the one to help me understand that I have it and that other people don't necessarily.
Yeah.
And that wasn't from an ego place. It was just,
Yeah.
I had no clue. So there's a million things like that. But one of the mirrors that you've been for me, everyone has a temperament. I don't know if temperament's the right word, but your temperament is lower energy than mine.
Mm.
I'm like a more intense person than you.
Definitely.
And I'm almost never not like that. And I know you know that because you've seen, we've hung out, we travel together.
I'm familiar with you.
You're familiar with me at all times of the day, right?
Yes.
And so,
what a weird way to put it.
I know. It's just funny because
Off the mics.
yeah,
Like
but
I've
also,
Well, I mean,
staying
like,
overnight, traveling.
Yeah. I've
like, you
woken up. Alan and I have
Yeah,
gotten
yeah,
up
yeah.
at 7:00
Yeah.
and gone down to the car and then been in a 10-hour car ride together. Like that's happened
in the morning, and
so
you
many
don't
times.
necessarily know this because I don't know if you've gotten this feedback, although you probably do know this. You're very super calm in the morning.
Yeah.
You don't get up and get after it. You have this slow sort of build. Let's go. But I also use caffeine. So
It depends who I'm with, though. Depends who I'm with. If I wasn't with you, you wouldn't think that.
what do you mean?
You're the leader energetically. I don't have to do it. It's different.
Oh.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. Depends on who I'm with. It depends on who I'm with. And I am super, when I wake up, if I'm in a good place and like I'm not super stressed out or super overwhelmed and not really low on sleep. Like as long
So
as I
never?
well, lately
kidding,
it
I'm
hasn't
kidding.
seemed that way, but I'm super relaxed in the morning where, some people are like very grumpy when they get up. That's not me. I'm not grumpy when I get up.
No, not at all.
I'm
you're
awake
chill.
now. I'm awake. So it's not a big deal. But yeah, I don't think you'd if you could see me from an outside perspective without you, I don't think you'd think that.
Hello, NLU listener. Thank you, as always, for listening to Next Level University. Real quick, I just want to jump in and let you know about the Next Level Dreamliner. This is a journal that I use every single day. Achieve your dreams 90 days at a time. It breaks down your dreams into goals, milestones, and daily habits. We hope you enjoy it. The link will be in the show notes.
I had an interesting moment last week or the week before where I was super down. I was struggle bus energetically. Yeah, I was sick, super sick.
Mm.
I feel much better now. My voice is still a little jeffed, but I feel like $1,000,000 now. I think I'm like 98% probably of my full self. But I was on a meeting with Jerry Ann. Shout out to Jerry Ann. And I remember thinking, and Jerry Ann, I hope that you don't take offense to this. I don't think that you will. Normally, energetically, I lead. And Jerry Ann's doing I don't think she'll have a problem with me sharing this. She's doing a detox. And so she's been up and down a little bit with this detox. It's a 3-month thing. It's pretty in-depth, and it's good. Good for you, Jerry Ann. But she's been a little bit of lower energy at times. And she's my EA, so I told her before she became my EA, I said, listen, I'm always on. So this is going to be brutal for you, maybe. And she's like, no, I'm game. And it's been awesome, by the way. So, Jerry Ann, shout out to you. Unbelievable. But being my EA must suck. Seriously.
I
It's
can
like
imagine.
all the time. It's
Being your
always-
business partner has its sucky parts as well.
For sure. But it's the energy thing where I'm very rarely not in the better state. I'm very rarely not in the higher energy.
100%.
And on this meeting 2 weeks ago or last week, I forget, I was like, I don't think I can hang. Jerry Ann was feeling it. It was great. And I was like, can you drive? I don't know if I got it. And I had this moment with myself of that's really rare for me. And I talked to Emilia about it later that night. I was like, I'm never not in a state where I can perform. I don't want to say never, but rarely. Very rarely am I the lower energy human.
I love when you are, though, because I think it's such good perspective for you.
Oh, I
obviously not from a negative.
No, it was good perspective. I
Just
remember
like-
thinking, like, no wonder why I feel like too much for some people.
Yeah, just like when I started going on other podcasts, I could lead energetically. It was like, oh, my self-worth went through the roof. It's like, oh, my goodness, I'm valuable. Because I've said, Alan and I have had this conversation behind the scenes, and it's going to sound terrible probably, but I'll explain it. I said, one of the best things I ever started doing was going on other podcasts and doing speeches without you.
Yeah.
Because when I'm with you, I always feel like you're looking over my shoulder. And I always feel like you know when I'm making mistakes, and you know when I wanted to say a word I didn't. I don't think anybody else would ever know.
You know what's interesting about that? What do you do about that? There's nothing you can do about that. It's not like I'm not going to notice.
I think it's just... I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just...
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Don't do it again, but you're good. I think it's just gotten to the point where you and I have done it for so many episodes and speeches, and we've been on podcasts, and it just gets to the point where I have to be okay with you knowing, and you have to be okay with me knowing.
Yeah.
It's just that.
When I first started being with Emilia, she's also very high energy, almost all the time. She's always on. I don't want to say always, but 90% on. And there were times early in our relationship where I felt like the lazy one. I was like, am I lazy? I want to like watch a movie and eat food. Am I lazy? I think everyone has their own tempo.
100%.
Now, I do agree that everyone should, and this is my truth, so don't hate me for this, but I think everyone should try to increase their tempo. I do. I think you can slowly, gradually, I mean, Kevin and I were talking earlier today about how we do 9 episodes a week now, and that's on top of the other things that we're doing, whereas at the beginning, we were doing 1 a week, and that felt challenging.
I only do 8. I only do 8 episodes a week. You do 9.
Well, technically, it's not 9 because it's bi-weekly for the Next Level
You
audio
do
blog, but
8.5.
8.5. Yeah, 8.5. The point is that I do want everyone, I hope that every listener, you look back and go, wow, I can't believe that used to be hard.
Yeah.
Because that means you're growing, right? I mean, that's what growth is. But one of the things that I've found fascinating being with Emilia is she's so holistically well developed that she's always aware of everything. There's nothing I can slip by her, if that makes sense. Like if I'm Jeffin, she'll know it. And she isn't like being mean about it. It's not like she's watching my every move on purpose to make sure I'm a perfect human. It's nothing like that. It's just her consciousness is excellent, and I want to be more excellent around her. And it does. It pushes me to be more excellent, and I think that that's what I do, hopefully, with other people. But how do you do that without being a pain in the butt?
I don't know if you do. You make
I don't know
sure
if-
that the level of oversight that you have is directly aligned with the size of somebody's goals. Now, I've told you that before. Like if I only wanted to do 1 episode a week and I was like, yeah, cool, we're good, like we have a successful business, I'm just gonna ride off to the sunset, you would be the biggest pain in the ass. You'd be the biggest. And obviously Alan knows I mean that with love, but if it sounds harsh, it's not harsh. The honest truth that I don't think enough people really get to terms with is you always will be too much for some people. Most likely, you specifically. But like, whether you're watching or listening, there are some people that you're just going to be too much for. I'm too much for some people, not as many as you. But I've caught myself where I'm going off on something I'm super passionate about. It's like, this person doesn't care. This person does not care. So you have one of two options. You either filter yourself to fit in, or you be okay with not Yeah, not fitting in, not resonating. I'm more okay with filtering myself than you are. I know your commitment and your promise and your desire for yourself is to be as authentically you, not to have to filter yourself. Be you, be you, be you. But I think for so long you haven't been able to be you, so that's why you crave that so much. Where for me, I don't know, I feel like I have been able to be myself for the most part.
To your original point, though, if you said that you, in hindsight, might have struggled with depression a lot of your life, your tempo, your energy levels will naturally be lower than mine.
That's fair.
I've
been jealous
at a different frequency. You have.
Yeah, I've been jealous. Yeah, I've been jealous of that.
I've been jealous of how easily people like you.
I don't. Yeah.
That was hard to admit, by the way.
Oh, I appreciate.
Like not just right now, but in
general.
in this journey, that's been like, am I like jealous of Kevin and how everyone loves Kevin? And I had to have a real honest talk with myself about that. It's like, yeah, of course I am.
There's downsides
deep
to
down,
that, though.
Of course, yeah.
Right. Just like
it's not like I would trade. I just
right.
There's a upside to every downside. There's a downside to every upside, and it would be nice.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you have to deal with some of the things I have to deal with, but I also know that I have advantages too. So
I definitely don't want the responsibility you have. I have a lot of responsibility, but not as much as you, I would say. There was a conversation a while ago about, because when we were becoming a company, like a real actual company, who was going to be like the guy, the CEO. What's a good example of what's the role of the CEO? Because I don't want to say boss, because that's not how we don't have. It's not like that.
Yeah, no. Every position comes with an identity and responsibilities, and that's how we see it. We see it as a team, and I don't use employee. I don't even like the word hire. I like team member, because I need the team just as much as the team needs me, and that's just the fucking truth. Let's be honest. I can't do this alone.
Shots fired.
Yeah, no,
definitely not.
I know. I've tried. It was brutal. So. It really is. How do you create a great team toward a mutually beneficial future? The CEO, that's a hard question to answer, but
as simple as you can.
Oh God,
I know that's your specialty. If you were trying to explain it to me at the beginning of this journey, you're like, "Hey, we're going to start a business together, and I'm going to be the CEO," and I said, "Like, what does that mean?"
The best way you can describe it is the orchestra. It's you're responsible for the orchestra. And you have to know how to play every instrument. You're just not the best at every instrument.
Very well done. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah.
But if the concert sucks, it's on you.
Yeah. Your hand is in everything. We were talking today. I was joking. I said I can understand how people later in life say, "Yeah, I don't know. It just like kind of all worked out." Because there's certain departments that I'm not in. So if you've purchased a Next Level Dreamliner, that was a department that I have nothing to do with, which is
Shout out to
weird.
Lizzie.
Shout out to
leads
Lizzie.
that department.
Lizzie has done a ton.
Shout out to Amy, Jerry Ann. I hope I'm not missing anyone who contribute. Christina. If I'm missing anyone, I'm so sorry, but thank you, products department. You guys crush, and the Dreamliner is awesome. As a matter of fact, shout out to a couple of my clients who just bought one. I have 2 clients that bought a Dreamliner this week.
But I was saying I didn't have anything to do with that. I mean, maybe it's ideas and stuff that we've talked about, but the execution was the team.
Well, you shield bumped me pretty hard on one of those team huddles, so
I did.
had
Yeah,
a little something to do with it.
That was brutal. Oh goodness. I think we had some newer team members at that point too. It's like, well,
that was one of the tougher ones.
That happened. Mm-hmm. What were we talking about before that?
Some tears flew. You were talking about CEO responsibility. And you were talking about how you were going to, you understand how people later in life, they say, oh yeah, it just kind of worked out. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a really good, maybe, I don't know if we should do Next Level Nuggets and Freestyle Friday, but I think that's a really good, maybe we'll do Freestyle Friday. I needed something that starts with an F. Let me think on it. There's downsides to everything. Yeah, that. Somebody was talking to me recently, and they said, I really want a partner that challenges me in entrepreneurial ways. And I said, that's awesome, but understand the downsides when you get home and you don't want to work anymore and the person's pushing you to work. Is that aligned?
Yeah.
There's the upsides are amazing. The downsides are there too. So maybe that would kind of be my wrap up of maybe a takeaway.
Has that person ever experienced that?
Evidently not to the degree that they desire.
Yeah. It's different. Emilia always says that. Like, I know I'm so hard to be with. All this. It's like, sweetheart, I asked for this. This is what I wanted. This is what I've always wanted. Trust me, I've been on the other end where I'm the pain in the butt driving everything. Like, it's so nice. This is something I'll just publicly share.
Privately share publicly.
It feels nice to what'd you say? Yeah.
Privately share
publicly. Yeah. Publicly share. Can't talk. This has been really nice for me. It feels, and I've told Emilia this too, it feels unbelievable to know that that our bigger, better, brighter future isn't all on my shoulders.
Yeah.
It's really, we're such a good team. I'm so grateful. It's almost like, and this has been really cool with our other business, the We. So she has Evolve Ventures. I have Next Level University with Kev, and we have the We, which is Conscious Couples Podcast is part of that business. That it just runs itself. It's awesome. It doesn't run itself. Emilia runs it. You know what I mean?
You gotta be careful.
Yeah. Exactly. I'll start selling a course on how to start a business and have it run itself. But she's so good. And everyone listening, this will be my Freestyle Friday takeaway. I don't know if that's what we'll call it.
No, I got to come up with an F word, and not the one you're thinking of.
The higher you want to achieve, the more responsibility that will require. And responsibility, okay, so Next Level Live, for example. That is my responsibility, your responsibility, and Amy's responsibility. Amy's the live event coordinator. And then Christina is in charge of the virtual part. We all have responsibility, but it's not equal, right? And so I don't think you can achieve real success, non-ego success, non-status perception success without taking on more responsibility in advance. And a lot of people want to achieve things without responsibility, and I think that isn't real or sustainable.
Freestyle Friday F. What's a good F word that flows with that?
I can only think of one F word when you say that, man.
I'll have to think on it, because I think we could probably come up with something pretty clever for that.
I'd
like to
leave
have
it to you on that. I'll create some sort of framework.
Yeah, that's what it would be. Freestyle Friday pyramid framework. Well, we'll come up with something. If you have not yet today is legitimately the last day to get tickets, virtually or in person. I suppose you could do it at 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, but I'd say better safe than sorry. We'll have the link in the show notes. It's going to be amazing. Next Level Live is here. I am super grateful that some of the teams flying out. Thank you to all the team for putting up with us for the last month, because obviously event season is heavy. Thank you to everybody who showed interest but can't attend. Thank you to everybody who said they want to attend a future event. We're just super excited. So link will be in the show notes. We'd love to have you, whether virtual or in person. And if you're nervous about it, if you're questioning it, do it for your future self, because I promise it'll be worth it. That's one thing I promise. It'll be worth it. And you're going to get a lot out of it. That's my guarantee.
I think there will be a moment in that room with every single person there that says, I'm so glad that I did this. I'm so glad that I did this. And so your future self will thank you. Also, we mentioned the Dreamliner several times. If you are coming in person to Next Level Live, you will be getting a free Next Level Dreamliner, the paperback version, not the hard copy.
$997 value right there. So,
wait, what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Dreamliner, $997 value, free. Just giving it to you. That's $1,000 products. Yes,
You're
I'm joking.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. Well, the actual prices are $29 and $27 on Amazon, FYI. So
close.
if you, like two of my clients this week that got Dreamliners, gratitudes, most important task, most important win, most important improvement, next level nuggets. I've been using it every single day. I haven't missed a single day in 2024. It's unbelievable. It keeps me on the rails, keeps me climbing toward my dreams. And it is available on Amazon. The link will be in the show notes. There's a paperback version that will come in within 2 days. The hard copy version I do like better. It's $2 more, and it takes longer to get to you. So Q2 is starting soon. Order as soon as possible so that you can start your 90 days at the beginning of Q2. So January, February, March is over. That's Q1. And then the next 3 months will be Q2.
Boom. Tomorrow for episode number 1650, one important thing to understand about focus. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow.
Nice.
As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep taking responsibility. Next Level Nation.